Hey guys, I wanted to go over an interview that NoahJ456 had with Jason Blundell, and this was his 3 million subscriber, I guess, video, and yeah, Jason Blundell answered some pretty interesting questions. Definitely go check out the full video. I'll have it linked down in the description. I'm just going to be going over the stuff that I thought was really interesting and some of the answers that we finally got for some of the stuff we've been working on for a long time now. The first thing they talked about, which I thought was really interesting, is for Remastered Origins, the characters are talking about Dr. Monty and, speaking in a way that they know who he is. And so that's a little bit confusing because, based on the timeline, they're not really supposed to have met him yet. Well, Noah asked Jason about this, and Jason said it's a bug and a glitch, and it's not supposed to be like that. So with the recent patch, he said they have removed all of those quotes, so you won't be hearing those anymore. Also, Noah asked what was Jason Blundell's favorite map to remaster for Zombies Chronicles. Jason said that he really enjoyed going back into Moon and reimagining that map. He enjoyed giving it more life than what Jimmy Zielinski had done. And with the new systems, it allowed them to do a lot more with more foliage and really bring it to life. And they really think this is the way that they would have originally done it if the system capabilities were there. The next question Noah asked was about the Samantha Easter eggs that we're finding on all of the new remastered maps. He wanted to know if there were more to that. He also asked if there was more to the Shadow Man that we see on Ascension. He wouldn't give any answers for those, but the Shadow Man being on Ascension definitely is not a part of any of the storyline that we know of, so it's a little bit confusing. But I don't doubt that someday we're going to know a little bit about their intentions there, so just be patient and wait for that. And if it ever does happen, then yeah, you're definitely going to know about it, and I'll definitely update you guys as well. But that is all I'm going to mention about that. The next thing that he talked about was the Raven under Eisen and the Margwa heart on Shadows of Evil. I was actually really impressed that Jason Blundell is giving us some answers here. Now, we've been obsessed over this Raven ever since Eisen came out, and we've also been really obsessed over this dead Margwa heart that you get when you finish the main Easter egg. I had already seen some information that showed that the Raven on Eisen was not an Easter egg. If you go into the old generation console and look, it's not there. So if it's left out, it's not an Easter egg. Also, I've seen the inside information that shows a grid of all of the triggers and Easter eggs under Eisen, and you go over to where the Raven is and there is nothing there. So this is triple confirmed, this is not an Easter egg. So they only did it to just do something interesting with that bird, and that's it. Another thing that I, have really worked a lot on, and that's this dead Margwa heart. I know a lot of us have, and there's so much evidence around the map and in the code that shows that this dead Margwa heart that you get at the end of the Easter egg is used to build a second Apothicon servant. With mods, you can go under the map, pick up the dead Margwa heart and all the other pieces, and go back up on top of the map, again using mods, and build it and use it. But yeah, Jason Blundell has confirmed this is not going to ever work. There's nothing we can do with the dead Margwa heart, and we will not be building a second Apothicon servant. So I'm glad that's been laid to rest, because that was kind of on the list of maybe one of the rewards for completing this impossible Easter egg. So yeah, we're gonna have to look in a different direction now and just keep trying to figure this out. Another thing that was really interesting is they talked about glitches and some of their process of fixing glitches, and they actually leave some of them in. One glitch that the developers were so thankful to finally get to fix was the fire staff step for the main Easter egg on Origins. You could just skip the whole step with the robot heads and all the staffs by just switching the fire staff back and forth at the bottom of excavation. So the developers were like, yay, we finally get to fix this. Jason went on to say that they leave some of the exploits in because of the heritage and character of the maps. He said that they have certain meetings where they ask, should we leave that in for them? We may not have intended for it to be there in the first place, but that has now become the sole character of that map now. So sometimes they consider leaving things alone and allowing us to do it. And he said that during the meetings that it can go 50-50 with some saying yes and some saying no. He briefly mentioned examples of what he does patch. On the Giant, there was a ledge that you can strafe jump to in the spawn area. He said no, he doesn't want people to be able to do that. But as far as things that they leave in, I'm wondering what he's talking about. He didn't mention anything. I'm pretty sure they're well aware of the fire elemental knife on Origins. It was a pretty big deal, and they have left that in. It's not as powerful, so I'm wondering if that's something that made the cut or they just missed it somehow. The next thing he talked about was the Zombies Chronicles timeline poster. He said there is something very significant on that poster that we have not picked up on yet, and then he said there are quite a few things, to be honest. I can kind of understand how we might be missing something because it's really hard to read, and he really did emphasize, the way that the poster was laid out, how the phrases circulated around and kind of, interconnected each other. So I think that's something that he wants us to look more into. Another thing he mentioned, he said that there are still things in Revelations that people still don't pick up on with its significance. They don't understand why we haven't connected the dots on certain things, and that there are still elements that we're not picking up on. I remember making a video and going over a lot of stuff on Revelations and how it links to the Bible, almost the entire map. Revelations, it's also called Genesis, in the code, and that's the beginning and the end. That's completely all about the Bible. The clocks are set to 9:12, and that is, one of the verses in the Bible that talks about unleashing an undead army on the earth. And there's all kinds of things. The stage prop that shows, premise, that has everything to do with like the final battle in the Bible, all kinds of things. The sun is the element 115, and that also relates to Genesis 1:15 in the Bible, where that is the creation of the sun, and like God said, let there be light, and like the sun was formed. And you see that happen with the Shadow Man when he forms the element 115 like energy source, like that's the sun. They call it the blue sun. So I don't know if some of that is what he's talking about, like we're not really picking up on, but I definitely see all the influences of Christian theology and what they're trying to do there. The next thing he talked about was some really great news for us. He said that the M1911 is coming, and so is the AK-74U, that they just didn't have time to test it, and that's the only reason why we don't have it yet. He also said that we're going to be getting the weapons after Zombies Chronicles comes out on Xbox, and then there's going to be an update after that. So after it comes out on Xbox and then the update, that update is when we're going to see those weapons. Another thing he said is that the Chronorium is dependent on who is reading it. So basically, when you open it and look into it, it gives you the point of view of the person that's actually looking into it and reading it. And the Chronorium that we read is the point of view of the person that signed it on the bottom left. One of the last questions Noah had for him was what was his favorite cutscene, and Jason's favorite cutscene is the Eisen cutscene. Also, we're going to be doing an Easter Eggs for Charity 2017 this year, and Noah wanted to know from Jason if we broke the record and met our goal, would he do a 1v1 on zombies with him? He didn't promise him a 1v1, but he said he would do something special for him or for the community. There's other things I want to talk about, like the impossible Easter egg. I know Dalek had done an interview with Jason, but that's going to be a whole new video on its own. I know that Jason also interviewed with the Zombros and confirmed that there's nothing further with the super Easter egg, but we kind of already knew that, but it's nice to hear it from him. But definitely go check out the full video that Noah has, and also the Zombros video, and also Dalek's. It's really awesome that Jason is, reaching out to the community, doing these interviews, and giving us some really awesome answers. But I hope you guys enjoyed this, and we'll see you next video.